Hi, welcome to Real People. I'm Stephanie Allensworth. My guest today is a psychic medium, and she is a wonderful person, somebody that I've worked with before. Please welcome Nikki Bodine.
Hi.
Welcome to the show, Nikki.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad you're here to talk with us because you come from one of the most psychic families ever known. And would you tell us a little bit about your background growing up?
Well, my family, my mother was psychic, her mom was. We kind of grew up in a haunted house. We had ghosts all over the place because Mom would have seances. And so it started young. I didn't get into it until my 50s. When I started going to funerals, I would hear the deceased.
Oh.
Yeah, and so for 30 years I avoided anything that had to do with this, but no, it started early in my family and then developed later in life, the gifts that I got from my mom and her mom, and Echo, my sister, and Michael, my brother, all have it too.
So you grew up in a house like that, but you weren't engaging, right?
Right.
So when you turn 50 and all of a sudden they start, maybe they just start talking to you, you start hearing them. Did you see them too?
I heard them at the funeral, at their funeral, like a friend of mine who died. He came right up to me at his funeral, his soul did, and said, "Hi, Nikki, it's so nice to see you." And that's when I first started hearing deceased.
Oh, wow.
Now, growing up in a haunted house, I saw ghosts, don't get me wrong, but I avoided the gift for many years. So, yeah, that's how it started. And then my dad's funeral, I heard him. He came up and talked to me.
That's a bit of a blessing.
As you know, I used to do healings, and so when I would do healings on people, their deceased would come and talk to me.
Yeah, mine did.
Yeah.
When you were doing a healing. The first time I ever met you, you did a healing on me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time.
Sure.
And you told me that there was a little old man in the room with a cane. And my dad was a little old man that always leaned on his cane.
Oh, okay. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so that went on for many, many years until it developed into becoming a medium.
Yeah.
So just contacting deceased, yeah.
And in your, like what happened for me was that was very healing for me, right? When I got to talk to my dad, and actually I remember the words you said.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm sorry you had it so rough in life."
Okay.
And that helped me in a huge way.
Yeah.
To realize that it was obvious, but or they knew.
Yeah,
I
right.
guess.
Yeah.
So, what kind of results do you get from people that you work with?
Well,
are they coming back and telling you it helped?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I have a young gal came to me about a month ago. Her dad died when she was a little girl, and so to contact him was very healing for her. Very healing. I've had suicide victims where their relatives come, and it's so healing for them to talk to the people who killed themselves. The deceased are able to say how sorry they are. The family can talk to them and get more answers, more validation. So yeah, it's very healing for everybody, especially if it's real meaningful like that, like suicide or a father or mother that you haven't seen in 30 years or pieces that are missing in your life. Contacting deceased can fill up that void.
Right.
And really bring healing so you can have a better life.
Right. You can kind of leave that baggage behind, if you will. Like maybe you're carrying some guilt or something that, a lot of times people think, is it something I did when there's a suicide?
Yeah. That happens all the time.
I know, it's a little dry in here right now.
Yeah,
so
all of a sudden,
Excuse us if we're coughing. That's why we have the water.
That happens all the time. I just had it last week. Their daughter died 18 years ago, and she was only, I think, 17. Oh. And the father always felt guilty all these years. And she came through and just reassured everybody, and that he was crying, and he felt 100 times better, and it brought a lot of healing for him.
Are these one-on-one sessions, I take it then?
Yeah, a couple. They hired me to... So, yeah, I think it's a very healing process. And the thing people don't understand is that the deceased likes talking to us.
Yeah.
They don't believe that, because of religion or whatever. But the deceased really likes to talk to us.
Yeah, they talk to me all the time. I have
Yeah.
to admit it openly and freely. I hear them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and when I'm thinking about them, I just manifested somebody. I drove by her old house, and I thought, I wonder how she's doing today.
Yeah.
And then she showed up at the store I'm working at.
Really?
I'm like a day later. And I'm like,
Wow.
well, I guess I just manifested Linda.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
not- she wasn't deceased, but
Right.
but that's kind of how it happens.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You do group sessions too, correct?
I do small parties.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do. Those are really fun. Everybody's laughing and crying, and you know, they're shorter sessions, but it's a lot of fun for everybody. And yeah, we get deceased. God, so many come in sometimes just a few. But yeah, I do group readings. I do tarot cards, and those are very healing for people. They're not scary like people think they are.
yeah.
I used to think they were bad, you know,
Well,
because
it's
it's some
we're taught
religious.
that.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
taught that, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I do that, and so my work does bring healing for people. Yes, yeah.
And so tell me, how does that affect you? Does that make you feel good, though, that you've got,
Oh, yeah.
you helped somebody? Because
Oh, yeah.
that's what gives me, you know, my best feeling in a day. If I've
Exactly.
helped somebody out and did some
Exactly.
good, you know, acts of kindness or just generosity.
Yeah,
even.
right.
So your group parties now, I was at one of your group parties. And unfortunately, I travel with a team, apparently, and they showed up. But the one thing you did tell me was my brother had recently deceased.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you told me was, he said, you were right. And I knew
Okay.
immediately what he was talking about.
Okay.
And like, if that's all I got from that, that's
Yeah.
all I needed.
Okay.
Because I can't go into why I was right. But
Okay, all right, okay.
but so it is refreshing from my own perspective
Yeah.
to see, you know, you and like the last reading I had from you, you know, the real reading at Echo's place
Yeah.
was so spot on. I couldn't
Oh,
even
that's-
believe
that's
it. Do you
right.
remember that one?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I got a clear picture now.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you.
And it was like, when it's just that on,
Yeah.
it's
well,
hard to ignore.
This gift has gotten stronger through the years.
Yeah.
And so I can hear you know, we're born with guardian angels, and that's getting even stronger. The angels are giving me more and more messages too, besides the deceased. And
Well, that's
so
fun.
It is.
And so, do you see other people's angels too, or okay? So
That's who I
they
talk to, and then they're giving me more answers too. even.
right.
Yeah.
So it's when the person themselves can't give you the answer, they step in, or how does that work?
Yeah, you know, I've always talked to their guides, but they're getting clearer and clearer with me.
You know, does
Yeah.
that mean the veil's getting thinner and thinner?
I think so.
yeah,
For me, or
well,
something.
maybe for everybody, for
Yeah,
humanity.
maybe. I don't know.
Because you know this was taboo so long ago,
Yeah,
right? You
right.
can't talk about these sort of things, or you
Exactly.
have to get
Exactly.
you have to get exercised.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean not by a machine.
Right, I know. My mom, growing up with her, she was like the witch of the neighborhood, you know,
Oh.
back in those days. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that had to be hard, though. Was that hard?
It was funny.
Oh.
We made it funny, you know.
Yeah.
It was silly, but no, we didn't. It wasn't hard. Living with ghosts was hard.
Yeah. Waking you up and things like that.
Yes,
Or talk
yes.
about things that go bump in the night.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. That was hard, but no, calling her a witch was actually kind of entertaining. So
Could you just tell the ghost to go away?
yes, I told him many times to go.
And they go?
Yeah, and my mom was having seances, so we had to have her stop doing
Yeah.
that, and she did.
Yeah.
And they eventually went away.
And
but
so what was about the seances that you said, hey, no more?
it was attracting just too many spirits and earthbound ghosts that were just there because we were calling on them. So it got too much, too
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
the things that wouldn't leave, huh?
yeah.
It's like, you called them in, now tell them to go home.
Yeah, right, right. So anyway, it was fun for a little bit, but then it too scary.
Yeah, well, I imagine, especially, when you grow up with it, but then it's like, it gets to be like, this is getting old now, Mom.
Right. And a ghost is invasive, you know. A spirit When you feel a spirit, it's a soft feeling and comfortable, but a ghost, it's invasive. It's like, what are you doing here? It's a different feeling.
Yeah, it's not one of love and affection coming to talk to you.
Right.
It's one to come and hang around and make chaos.
Yeah, kind of like, boo, you know? Oh, well.
Boo.
Yeah, it's a good...
And then it's like, wait a minute, you open the closet, boo.
Yeah,
it's like, no, go home.
Go home, right. So.
Well, you work, or I don't know if you work, but you volunteer with another type of a group now and tell me about that, because I'm not sure of all the details of that specific group.
You know, talking about health, they're called Benzos. It's an anxiety medication that you take right away, and it takes away your anxiety right away. I don't know if I can mention the brands.
No brands,
no, okay.
just what they are.
But they're called Benzos, and to share a little bit, they're not good for you at all, and they can destroy your life. And so if anybody is out there on this kind of medication, I would suggest getting off as soon as you can to have a better life.
And you know this from experience.
I do. I was on them for 2 years, and they completely ruined my life. So.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about how?
You can't leave your house. You're afraid of everything. You gain weight, you lose weight. You can't be in the sun. You don't want anyone coming over. You're just afraid of everything. I couldn't even walk around the block. And a lot of people I talk to in this support group, have the same side effects. And there's 1,000 more side effects. Oh, God, you could just go forever. But we all had the same side effects. This medication just completely paralyzes you.
Wow, like agoraphobia, is that the one?
Agoraphobia,
yeah. You can't go outside. You're afraid of people, afraid of being touched.
Yeah, and I work out. I work out. I have since I was 16. I'm a runner, and I couldn't work out for 2 years. I could not leave my house hardly. And so just to put it out there that if anyone's on these, that's why you're afraid.
Is there some information that you can share about if this group is full, can people still join?
I found it on Facebook by chance. It's called Benzo, Benzo, support group.
Oh.
And it was a blessing in disguise that I found it. It came to me. And so, yeah, if they go on Facebook, I think, Benzo's support group, I think they'll be able to find more information.
And is it online, or is it like a Zoom meeting, or is it in person?
No, it's just online where you type in things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
and you can get all the information and everything.
Yeah, or Google it or something.
Yeah.
To find out how these type of medications affect you.
So what happens when you try to come down off of them? Do you have to do it slowly?
Very, very slowly. They're very hard to get off of. So yes, there's many different ways to get off of them. People try different things. I just cut them in half and then in quarters, and stayed on that for like 2 months, and then cut them again. And it took like a year to get off of them.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so.
How long did it take for you to start feeling better?
Thank God I felt better right away. Within months.
Within months,
Some people
okay.
it takes a long time. Some people, everybody's different, you know. So I felt better right away. And I got to say, the key to a lot of good health is exercise. You know, people don't realize you have to exercise even if you walk around the block.
Right.
You know, 10 times, 1 time, 5 times. Exercise helps advance your healing. Okay,
Yeah.
so because a lot of in the support group will say, I'm still having trouble, blah, blah, blah. But if you exercise, it speeds up everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know people hate exercise, but walking is all you need to do, really, or yoga or Pilates. Just keep it simple, you know.
Yeah.
Do what you love.
Well, so obviously you're here, so you've completely beat this thing.
Yes.
But you still work in the group?
I do. I just am there to give advice when somebody asks. It's just typing in what you...
From experience, because you've experienced it yourself.
Yeah.
What other types of medications, if any, that you've tried that?
I don't know of any type. Fortunately, I haven't most of my life been on any medications.
So how did you end up on these things?
Because I had a really bad period in my life where I needed something for anxiety.
Oh.
And the
Okay.
doctors give you this stuff freely. They don't tell you,
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
You get 8 pages of stuff, but none of it tells you what really is going to happen.
So if you're having a really struggle in life and you go and get these, that's how it all stared. But, at the time you don't know. You just don't know.
If you're at the end of your rope kind of thing. I mean, were you suicidal at all?
Oh,
or
God,
just,
no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm
It was
just curious.
a hard time in my life.
Okay.
Really hard time.
Yeah.
So
you weren't even able to work or do cards or readings or anything?
I did
or?
periodically, but it was pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All phone or something? Or
Yeah.
Oh, was that okay?
Yeah. It was, it was bad. It wasn't good. So.
Oh, wow. So what else are we doing? Now you're doing your readings at Echoes.
Oh, yeah. I had out of my home, as you know.
Yeah.
Parties, readings, deceased. That's about all right now for my work. That takes a lot, I work every week. I'm booked. So I stay busy.
So do you have to rest after a reading or something?
Yes.
Does it take a lot of energy out of you?
Yes, it does. It takes a lot out of me. It's hard to explain the energy, but you do get drained. Like I said, you can't really explain how you get drained, but you're just kind of lightheaded. Sometimes I see double.
Oh.
And I have to get outside.
Okay.
Right away.
And
I
get
have
grounded?
to get grounded,
Yeah.
and be in nature, be outside, get fresh air, stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I make sure I balance it out pretty good. I'm not the kind of psychic medium that when I go out into the world, I can hear deceased. I'm not like that.
You just shut it off?
Yeah. So I'm lucky there. Where some psychics and mediums, I don't know, they're pretty open all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I know one in particular that told me when I told her I was taking psychic development classes, and she said, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, yeah. You really have to be.
And I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah, you have to be detached really good.
Yeah.
And I'm good at that. I don't know why. I just really am. So that's helpful.
Yeah, I feel like when something from the other side is bothering me, I just say, ignore it.
Yeah.
Ignore it. If you don't give them any energy, right? You don't want to give them energy if you don't want them around. Like, I don't know, help me out with this. Are they looking for people's reaction and fear, or?
You mean deceased or ghosts?
Well, ghosts, perhaps.
I think ghosts are looking for reaction and attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely want you to know they're there, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why they'll pound on walls or turn off lights or do stuff like that. The deceased, I wish I could explain this better, but the deceased will want you to know they're there, but they give you more of a subtle, nice answer, where a ghost will give you, more drama.
Is it like they say something like, I've heard before, the difference between the loved ones will be like good warm energy versus ghost energies and spirits?
Yeah.
The troublemakers are cold energy that comes in?
Exactly.
Is that right? Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
And people can pretty much, if you sense your mother's around or your father or your child, don't ignore that. If you sense it and feel it, that's real.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't. They shove it under the rug and think, oh, I'm making that up. But if you do feel it, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
There was, we have a common friend, Thomas John. And I took a class with him one time but he was doing an open reading to the class afterwards.
Yeah.
And he said, there's a guy here that died in a fire. Does anybody know somebody that died in a fire? I mean, he's being really persistent, like he won't go away and he won't go to the back of the line.
Yeah.
And nobody was saying anything And he's like, the guy's back. Anybody? He's like, nobody.
Wow.
And then he said the name Colleen.
Yeah.
And I went, oh my gosh. It's my friend's father who died in a fire.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't even for me, it was for him.
Okay.
And so I went and told him, I called him up and I said, your dad came through. It was like weird, but
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I know. he keeps trying to contact me and I keep pushing him off. And so this is what happens. He came to me instead and tried to get me to make that connection.
Yeah. That happened at a party one time.
Did it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I tried
tell
to
us.
contact somebody, and his brother came through instead. And they knew it was his brother right away. And Something like that, like you experienced. And, it's a long story, but it was just
That's okay.
like that.
We have 8 minutes.
Yeah,
Tell the story.
it was just like that. Where, and that's what will happen at these parties is you'll get a different soul come through of a relative that's there to say hi to somebody else.
Yeah.
So.
You got any more good stories like that?
Oh, gosh. The parties, I can't think of any right now. All I know is that I did a fun reading the other day where a gal came to me, and this gal was about 30. And we were talking, and I was talking to her spirit guides, and her spirit guide was 18 years old, died young, and she had been with her her whole life, and she was 18 and a lot of fun, and her spirit guide said to me, I'm gonna get rollerblades, or I'm gonna go rollerblading, which was really odd to me because spirit guides don't say things like that. And my client said, I just bought rollerblades yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was really fun,
So does that mean her guide's going to go rollerblading with her?
Well,
Or at least be there with her?
Yeah, because our guides are always with us.
To protect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was really fun. And then I had one years ago where it was over the phone.
Okay.
And this young gal, her boyfriend committed suicide. And he came through very angry. He was a drug addict, and he was in a gang. And he was actually cussing and swearing. He had just died recently, and I could hear the chains around his neck, and he was really mad that he had died. And he kept saying the word homecoming, and I thought to myself, well, he wouldn't take her to the homecoming. Not a guy like this, you know.
You would
And
think.
so finally I said the word to her, and she screamed on the phone, and she had a shirt on that said homecoming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, that's another lesson in trust what you hear. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't have this gift, you really want to trust your intuition. Really
Right.
trust it.
Yeah.
If it may sound goofy and not right, but to us it's not right, but to them it is.
Yeah.
So that's a good lesson for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, is to
Yeah.
trust your intuition.
Wow, that is so true, because I know my intuition is spot on every time. And isn't it like the first thing you hear is the right thing? Don't let your head get involved.
Exactly.
Because if your head gets involved, you're
Figuring it out.
Yeah, you're trying to make it make sense when you can't because it's not for
cannot.
you.
Right. And in this work, I have had to learn that the hard way. As a medium, you hear things and it doesn't make sense, so I don't say it. And I've had to learn the hard way that you say everything you hear, even if you feel stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because something's going to click.
Something.
Kind of like this whole Colleen thing. Until he said the wife's name,
Yeah.
I didn't make that connection.
No, how would you?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So it's all really cool. People need to really understand there's a lot of help on the other side for
Yeah.
us. It even says that in the Bible, that there's more help in the unseen world than in the world. And so to me, that is just saying, hey, you guys, we are here for you.
Yeah.
Trust us. Listen
Yeah.
for us. Pay attention. And people, I think it would be helpful for them to really believe that.
Yeah, and open up to it. But I think
Yeah.
we're going there. We're headed that
A
direction
lot of
right
people
now.
are, yeah.
Yeah, we went through basically the dark ages of this kind of wisdom.
Yeah, yeah.
And without it, I think we're suffering from a lack of connection, and we can still be connected, right? And
right.
like you don't have to go to psychic development classes. All you have to
Right.
do, sorry, go.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
But you just have to trust. Trust the gut, like they say. Trust your gut.
Yeah.
And that'll take you a long way.
Well, exactly. And growing up, religion has kind of destroyed that, making it weird or witchcraft or satanic.
Yeah.
And I just really believe that's false information.
Well, yeah.
I really do.
I believe the same thing.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah.
like all things, it had its purpose for the people that were condemning it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the only power,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
can talk to God.
Right, right. Yeah.
It's like,
And like any career, there are some bad psychics. They're bad mediums. They will take advantage of you, just like any career, doctors, lawyers, whatever. There's always a bad apple somewhere. So you really have to listen to your gut, your intuition, get references, before you go to somebody or check it out. I just had a gal the other day that canceled on me 3 times because she was scared because of her religion.
Oh.
And she finally came, and it was very helpful for her. So that religion will...
yeah.
I mean, I love God, don't get me wrong, but religion has kind of messed this up.
Yeah, sometimes I think God and religion are
Separate, yeah.
separated.
I do too.
Religion was created by man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I trust God, and I always, like we said this earlier off camera, but just give it to God.
Yeah.
Give it to God.
Yeah.
Whenever you don't understand something and you don't know what to do, just give it to God, and that helps every time. I mean, I've seen amazing thing happen one time when I was trying to help somebody out of a sticky situation. I said, you know what? Let's just give it to God, and within 10 minutes, it was cleared up.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that's important for people too is get in touch with spiritual teachers. Wayne Dyer, he's passed, but he's still out there.
I got his book. It's about this
Alan
thick.
Cohen, he's a spiritual teacher. Echo, my sister. That really helps you in your life to stay connected spiritually. I think it's really important. If you want to be healthy, you have to have spiritually, emotionally, and physical health, all 3 connected.
Yeah.
Not just one, but all of it.
Yeah, and spiritual health is a whole kind of a different animal. You can go one-on-one with God anytime you want. I mean, I always say this, it's like they always want you to pray to God, but they never teach you how to listen for the feedback, which is meditation. You ask and pray for things to improve, but then you also have to listen.
Yeah.
And if you're not listening and getting the messages on how to improve, and listening to that intuition, then you're not getting the message, and things won't improve.
Right, exactly.
So that's my take on it. So but that's. I mean, and I don't even always meditate. I just stop and listen because I start to hear it right away. Actually, the minute I ask.
You don't even have to. I mean, they say to, which is important, but you don't even have to. If you're open, you can hear your intuition pretty strong.
Yeah.
What to do or not to do, what feels right, doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Well, mine sounds like my own voice a lot in my head, but boy, when it's not my voice, I definitely perk up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we are counting down here.
Okay.
You want to tell us your website so people that want to get in touch with you
It's
can?
pretty simple, nikkibodine.com.
Is it nikki.bodine.com?
That's my Gmail.
Oh, it is.
My
okay.
website is nikkibodine.com.
Okay. Yep. I don't want to mess those two up. Okay.
Yeah. And then all the information's on there.
Yeah, and how to book a session with you and stuff. I recommend you highly to anybody that's watching. I want to say thanks for tuning in today to Real People. Nikki, come back and be with us again sometime, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right.
That's all I have today. Bye-bye. Thanks for keeping it real.
Okay.